G'day. It's time to down your unders. Review and dissection of content from some of the sharpest minds in the game. Hosted by Adam Camilleri. Art of War. Down Under.
Hello, lovely denizens of the 41st millennium. My name's Adam Camilleri, and welcome to a very auspicious and special episode while we all sit here twiddling our thumbs, waiting for the points changes. We're on points watch, Minotaurium watch, whatever. And I'm joined by two lovely Scandinavian gentlemen for a very fun episode. First and foremost, you just heard him just then, Axel Ryden, the man with the greatest name of all time. He's ripping with his axe handle guitar, at least air guitar. I don't know what he plays.
For sure. Axel, like in Rose or in Foley.
But he did represent Team Sweden at the WTC this year for a very successful run. Hello, mate. Welcome to the show.
Thank you very much. Thank you very much.
And a compatriot above, just to the north somewhat from Axel, Mr. Patrick Woods, the captain of Team Norway at the WTC for a couple of years now, and a very good friend of mine also joining us. Hello, mate.
Hello, how are you?
I am so good, mate. We are doing a pretty fun episode. We're doing an episode pretty much talking about units that have never been good in 10th edition and why. And what would have to change to make them good. We've all got a slew of factions to talk about here, and then we've got another slew of factions to talk about over on part 2, where you can join us at Art of War Down Under over on Patreon. We're going to be a bit more whimsical, a bit more swearing, a bit more, not holding back as much on the opinions front.
No limits in part 2.
Zero limits, just like Goku. Hopefully you'll come and join us there. But Axel, I understand you have something to plug.
Yes, we have a new 40k community in Sweden called Visla, which is like an old Norse word for folk gathering or party, basically. So if you're into 40k in Sweden, or if you just want to, I don't know, visit Sweden, find some opponents, head over to Basela. We have a Discord, and maybe we got some stuffs coming up at a later point that you will know about for sure.
How delightfully vague.
Mm-hmm.
Love it.
Yeah.
All right. Patrick, you are going to kick us off. Let us talk about one of your factions and jump straight into some units that have never been good.
Right, well, let's start with the faction that I'm playing at the moment, Space Marines. Unless they come with the Dark Angels faction keyword, Terminators are not good.
That is a pretty great and very very wide place to start this off. I'm going to throw out a word there.
Yeah.
Now you go.
Which of the Terminators are we starting off with discussing?
Oh, okay, yeah, that's a great call, because there is the good units that comes with shields and maces and swords, or there's the every other one that sucks. Do you have a Terminator that comes with a gun? It sucks. Why does the Terminator with a gun and a fist, the OG original Terminator, just suck so bad? And what would it need to change?
Most likely, it's probably just that it is quite underwhelming. As like a whole, the movement is slow. It's not all that tough as long as it doesn't have access to -1 damage, for example, or something like that. And it doesn't hit all that hard. Like there are neophytes in Black Templar Crusader squads who do more attacks.
Yeah, 100%. In addition,
how many attacks are they? 3.
I think they're 3. Yeah,
I think they're 3.
Yeah, hitting on 3s. Yeah, cool. You're -1 to hit. Oh, that sucks. Don't have Oath of Moment. Oh, that sucks too. But yeah, 100%. Like, they don't shoot that hard. They don't hit that hard. They're not actually that durable these days. Like, they're just a 2-up, 4-up, which we know the game has well and truly gone past now. Where a 2-up, 4-up is a toughness 5 is a strong stat line. And yeah, they could drop the points and drop the points and drop the points. And I don't know what they do to make them very viable. But there is, like, I guess the comparison would be Blightlord Terminators. who are pretty much the same thing, but they're 30 freaking points. They're cheap as chips. And at 30 points, you're like, okay, I can take these guys.
Yeah, for sure. And I mean, they're shooting when it comes to the heavy weapons. I mean, an assault cannon in this day and age.
It's not a gun.
No.
You're throwing some rocks at them.
Damage 1. It's the first time, I think, reading the assault cannon profile in this edition for me, which says something. Yeah.
What's the profile on the Soul Reaper cannon?
6 shots, strength 6, AP 1 damage.
With
And
dev
dev
wounds, yeah. Give the freaking assault cannon an AP, because Soul Reaper cannons are fantastic, but the assault cannon is a joke. Yeah.
Yep.
All right. We may jump around into factions because I mean honestly we could stay on Space Marines the entire time. I've just selected Ultramarines and I'm scrolling down right now and it's a who's who of untakeable units. I just made it to the tactical squad, boys.
Yeah,
we're gonna start.
The next point on the Space Marines list would be, you know, any named character that isn't Blood Angels, Dark Angels, or Black Templars.
All minus Calgar. Yeah, pretty much.
All minus Calgar, yeah. I mean, it's just it's a shame because the Space Marine chapters that don't get their own index, they also don't have all that much drawing you to them because their named characters are very underwhelming.
So how good would a Lysander or a Iron Captain Pharaohs or a Pedro Cantor have to be to offset the fact that you get nothing else but that?
Helbrecht, good.
Okay, yeah, fair enough. Okay.
Helbrecht good when it comes to the melee, or maybe just getting that additional CP. Probably for the Space Marine characters. We do have what's his face, the Dark Angels one providing Azrael.
Yep.
And Calgar. Why not give, for example, Shrike or Lysander or any one of these fellas an additional?
Well, I 100% agree because I mean, Lysander's rules aren't awful. He just doesn't do much. He's just a fridge. He just goes up, he doesn't die, and he's got a really good Thunderhammer. That's not enough.
What's his ability?
You're gonna make me look it up now. This is wild. I can definitely tell you that Shrike's rules are very good. Shrike's rules are very good. He gives loan up to his unit, but the issue is, what can he join? 10 jump back intercessors. Yay! It's not a big, dangerous unit. So Lysander, he has his strength 10 -3, 3 damage, dev wounds, Thunderhammer. Whilst leading a unit, each time an attack targets the unit, if the strength characteristic is greater or equal to the toughness, you're -1 to wound. And then once per battle at the start of any phase, you can have a 2-up invuln on Lysander. So he makes one. Sorry?
Only on him.
Yes. Yeah. And he can join. Oh, look, those Terminators we just talked about that aren't good. So that's another one of the big issues. Like you have these firstborn, and I hate to use that word, these firstborn characters that can't join any relevant units. One of the best things about Helbrecht, he can join Sword Brethren, he can join Primaris Crusaders.
For sure. Yeah. For sure.
I was having a conversation today at the end of a tournament I was judging about Space Marine chapters, and one of the things we talked about was that in Blood Angels, Dark Angels, and Black Templars, you almost have to limit the amount of characters, and especially named characters, that you bring, because you can't just have 1,400 points of characters, but you want to bring most of them. Whereas if you were to run, a list as, say, Imperial Fists or Salamanders, you might not bring both of the named characters you have access to.
That's funny. That is pretty funny. All right, I'm going to throw one out for you. The Hammerfall Bunker. Let's go.
Yeah. I need to look this one up as we speak.
So should we start with the fact that units that cannot move are always going to be a problem?
Yes. Essentially in the game of Warhammer, where the game is literally played that you must move to score points. Like the Hammerfall bunker is just the funniest thing, and plus the terrain. Like, I mean, they made with the Hammerfall in late 8th edition or early 9th edition. I can't remember, but either way, the terrain has gotten a lot denser since this thing was invented, and it ain't small, guys. It ain't a tiny little Aegis defense line with a Hydra turret that we used to have.
It hurts my head trying to.
Are you allowed to charge with it?
No.
I read some silly discussion about people charging with their Tau defense lines.
At the start, at the start of the edition, you definitely could have made a case you could declare a charge, and I think there's some designer commentaries that are just slapping that out of people's hands.
Reasonable.
It has the fortification. It has the fortification keyword, which doesn't allow you to do that. But I mean, while an enemy unit is only within engagement range of one or more fortifications from your army, that unit can still be selected as the target of ranged attacks, but each time such an attack is made, unless it is made with a pistol, subtract 1 from the hit roll. Models in that unit do not need to take a desperate escape test due to falling back while battle shocked, except for those that will move over enemy models when doing so. How is this a datasheet ability?
Yeah, I know. This isn't a datasheet ability. This is a core rule.
No, for sure.
Yeah. And it comes with, some heavy bolters. We all know how good they are. Or you can have twin heavy flamers.
Overwatching for free with shitty weapons.
Yep. I mean, the first thing they could do is actually make its weapons good. Like the super crack missile launcher is just a Typhoon missile launcher that hits on 4s. Yeah. The first thing they could do is actually make this have like really pushed weapons. Let it have like, I mean, you know, people can hate me for saying
6 shots. To be decent.
So one thing that I think a good fortification should have is indirect, even though people will hate me for saying that. But if you wanted to make this thing good, it's got a giant missile launcher on it. Give it an indirect profile shot.
Yeah.
Not being able to move ever does means that people will just not be like, well, I can literally just let it never shoot its guns because I have the power to never stand into line of sight. But sorry, go Patrick.
I was just going to say it's also 175 points.
Oh my God, I've got no idea why it's 175 points.
A Vindicator is less points than that.
And so much better, has a better gun, is a little, actually, realistically, it is less durable, the Vindicator. It's got 1 less toughness, the same save, less wounds. But you know what it does have? A movement value. Yay!
So, sort of on the fortifications thing, though, not quite. I did see at least one of these in a list at WTC this year, but Firestrike servo turrets.
What? Explain. Who's taken this? Yeah. What?
Thomas Bird, who was playing for South Korea, had one in his Ultramarines list.
Yeah, he would do something wild like that, wouldn't
he? Well, continuing here, there are many vehicle sheets that you haven't seen in the Space Marine Army for quite some time. I mean, all of the Land Raiders, basically, that isn't the Redeemer ones.
Yeah. I mean, I desperately want the Crusader to be takeable again, but me oh my, paying points for a Hurricane Bolter in this economy or in this game just feels like the stupidest waste of points.
Compared to the Redeemer cannon.
Exactly right.
Yeah. That being said, there is a mad lad over in England under the name of Stephen Box who has won several tournaments with double regular Land Raider with las cannons.
Godhammer patterns. Yeah, see, I feel like the Redeemer is, you know, over the hills and far away, and then there's the Godhammer pattern, which is the standard, you know, twin heavy bolter, 2 twin las cannons, and then in the middle, and then just trying to make their way up a slight incline, puffing, wheezing, out of breath is the Land Raider Crusader. I reckon they should just strap because you're never going to be able to change. You're never going to make a bolt gun feel good on that. You just need to give it like a stupidly pushed ability. Like you can, like the Land Raider gets to advance and then you can charge out of it. Like push it even further. You know, because you can already charge out of a Land Raider. Let the Crusader advance and then you can charge out of it, or something wild like that, and just give it a crazy ass ability.
And maybe some ability on the Hurricane Bolter. I don't know, like death wounds or some additional points of strength. At least something that isn't just strength for basic bolter. shot.
Make it strip cover or something. I don't know. Like if you shoot a hurricane bolter at one target, this thing shoots out with a hurricane bolter, doesn't have cover for the rest of your army. Because if they went and changed and made hurricane bolter profiles good, everyone would yell and scream about their XYZ bolter being crap. So
yeah.
I'm pretty sure they just need to give it an ability that makes you feel good about its crap profile.
Yeah, I mean the datasheet ability is the same as that of the Redeemer, but I mean the weapons are all terrible, and it's still 220 points.
Yeah.
And since they have the same transport capacity as well,
Crusaders a couple more.
16.
A couple more, 16.
Yeah.
While the Redeemer has 12.
12. Yeah.
All right. My bad.
Yeah, make the Crusader 18 or some crap. Let's just push it even further. Yeah. One more I wanted to, actually no, we'll come back to this. But we're actually gonna leave Space Marines for a little bit because we could do Space Marines for the entire freaking episode. It's that thick and juicy for us. Let's go on to some Sisters goodness, because Sisters, are much talked about, the one of the best factions in the game right now, but they still have some lemons in there. Axel,
for sure.
Dance. What do you got for us?
Yes. Well, one thing that I'm missing, and I'd say that Sister players are somewhat agreed upon the fact that we're missing like the Bloody Rose damage output when it comes to melee, like the Repentia, for example. 2 attacks isn't really enough in this day and age to claw themselves through, I don't know, the Bullgrins or Death Knights or the tougher cookies out there.
I love that we're going to try. We're going to sit here and try and say that there's something that's untakeable in Sisters.
Yes. There are quite a few good units in there.
Oh, yeah. And even their bad units. Like, I mean, Repentia can just be fixed by points. There is a points that Repentia can go down to that their 2 attacks will feel fine because you'll have 30 of them. You'll have 30 Repentia.
Definitely.
Yeah.
But hitting up 4-ups, they can be quite swingy as well. So, yeah. Points down for sure would be interesting.
So, Patrick?
Yeah, I was just going to say that in Sisters, obviously, they've had one heck of a glow up this edition. There are a couple of the characters that I don't genuinely think I've seen in a single list.
Me too.
I don't think I've seen a Dogmata or an Imagifier in anything so far.
Imagifier, 100%. I see Dogmatas every now and then. Always it's a Dialogus I see. Yes, I see the Dialogus.
Yeah, no, the Dialogus has been everywhere, but the Dogmata, which was a mainstay last edition, and even but the Imagifier and the Dogmata, I think, are just universally seen as kind of useless.
I mean, they've got some gorgeous models, like Astrid Thurger and the Requilent. That model is fantastic. I've never seen it in the flesh.
I saw it for the first time this weekend.
Oh, damn. Okay.
A guy was running it in the tournament this weekend, and I'm pretty sure he went 1-4.
So starting off with the Dogmata, I mean, providing an enemy unit within 6 -1 to leadership, it doesn't do much.
What is alive within 6 inches of the Sisters army?
Yeah.
Not too many things if you're playing Bringers.
You do get +1 OC as well.
Yeah, and that's cute, of course. But maybe some sort of battle shock ability, or I mean, worsening a leadership, it's, I don't know. Like when it comes to demons, for example, and the whole army provides it basically, then I mean, of course, it gets good, but I don't see having a working Dogmata, so to say.
This character immediately becomes a 45-point must take if it was take a leadership test within 6 inches at the start of some phase at -1. Just the -1 it also requires you to set up some other way to give battle shock tests or leadership tests for something, right?
For sure.
I've just been looking up Astrid, and She's good. She's whatever unit she joins gets dev wounds, and then when the unit that she's leading it destroys an enemy unit, you gain a miracle dice, and then when Dolan, the little mook, dies, you get D3 miracle dice, and you can attach it to Battle Sisters, Celestians, Dominions, Retributors, or Novitiates.
So some Retributors with devastating multi-meltas.
Flipping sixes with miracle dices and simulacrums, and it sounds pretty good.
Yeah. And I mean the flying ladies, the Zephyrim, obviously that's a point problem as of right now as well.
Here's one I've never heard of. Do you say this? I'm still saying this right. More than Val? Is that right?
She's terribly overcosted at the moment.
Terribly overcosted. Yeah, no relevant data sheet abilities. I wish she gave some rerolls to hit and wound. Very tongue in cheek, guys. All right, let's move on from sisters. Let's jump over to some Eldari goodness.
Shining Spears.
All right.
Starting off strong, lads. What could be done to make Shining Spears good?
Give back their smaller bases from gaming perspective.
You're actually right. Because they used to be on, was it 40s, or were they on the biker bases?
On the tiny biker bases. And then they got a bigger jet bike and a shitty base when it comes to playing them on the actual board.
Is it 50 millimeter base now?
60.
60?
Dude, they're on a 60. They're on a freaking 60, mate. The logistics is just wrong.
So it's quite hard to hide a 3-man unit behind a WTC ruin.
Yeah.
Which is
the whole premise of Eldari is to be selectively seen. Otherwise, you will be instantly dead. And crap, they just don't have that option as much as other units. 100%.
They have an automatic -1 to be hit, but I mean, when you get the attacks in your direction, being an elf, then you just die.
So I do have something funny that's happened, because what I've been doing is going to Games Workshop and I've been Googling. So I've been typing in our selected faction. Illuminos Caesaris, for some reason, has shown up in the Eldari faction.
What?
I didn't know he was a traitor during the War in Heaven. What's going on there?
For sure. Some heresy going on.
My best suggestion for fixing the Shining Spears is giving them the early 8th edition Yunari rules.
Piss off. But go on.
Maybe Advance and Charge would be nice.
Yeah, I would say Advance and Charge would be a fantastic place to go. Do you mean that once they shoot, they can bounce out? They can...
Yeah, their old hit and run ability would be nice as well, of course. But I mean, moving 14 inches now, that's one. Being an elf lover here, it's hard to describe what got worse with Eldari for 10th edition. But one major thing was that all of the movement 16 stuff got bumped down to movement 14 instead. Shining Spears included. And if they were to maybe, auto advance 6 with some sort of fate dice, move 20, then they're still able to connect and be a bit quicker than, ordinary walking intercessors walking through ruins and advancing and stuff.
100% agree. Man, I'm actually looking at the Eldari right now, and there's more takeable units than untakeable units, which is a good thing to say. But there is a bunch of stuff that doesn't touch the sides. Well, first
I have 26 units listed here on my sheet of paper.
Can I make a suggestion?
Yeah.
So there's a character that got one of the coolest new glow ups of a new model I've ever seen, and I've never seen it on the table.
Morgan Ra.
Morgan Ra.
Yeah.
What does he even do?
He gives +1 to hit when he leads a unit, and if he targets an attack on a unit that is below half strength, he can reroll the hit roll and the wound roll.
Wow. So if he's going to kill a thing that was already probably very killable, you get to kill it more killy. Wow. For 115 points.
For sure. And he's also buffing one of the worst aspect units as of right now as well.
Why is his melee weapon so much better than his shooting weapon?
That's what I was about to say. He's got like a giant freaking cannon with just like a little like scythe blade on the top, but somehow the scythe blade is like absolutely, it's just so sharp, but the projectiles he's shooting, very dull.
It's like Azrael's.
He wants to get in there. Smash.
He does.
It is essentially Azrael's melee profile.
And I mean, Dark Reapers are still paying for sins of like 8th edition because whilst they're takeable at the moment, they're not.
They are
super pushed.
But more from like a screening perspective and kill like, the last guardsman hiding behind the ruin or
a finisher.
A wound from a marine in cover, for example. But going from damage 3 to damage 2 was a huge blow for them. And
then the indirect changes as well, of course, because they were one of one of their rules was
one of the main offenders. Yes,
they always hit on 3s ability. It has just been kind of their identity for a generation. And now, it's just like, 4s, no rerolls. No, suck it.
Yeah.
I wanted to talk
the
about
autarchs.
Yes,
that isn't flying and being blown up.
Yep.
So the Skyrunner on the bike or the walking one.
I was going to say a reason to not have the obvious autark with the Phoenix gem with the wings with the fusion gun. Yeah, it would be great.
Mm-hmm.
How do you boys feel about Jane Czar and Howling Banshees in totality? Because I have actually seen them taken, so they're not meeting the brief right now of untakeable units. But man, they suck pretty hard.
I see them now. I see them now in some lists, but I have a feeling it's because the Eldar pilot, the player, is starting to run out of units that aren't ridiculously overcosted to actually put in a list.
Yeah.
Desperation.
They're bottom of the barrel for sure, and obviously missing their nice. What was it called? Like the Exarch ability last edition, to have mirror swords, 10 attacks with damage 2.
Oh yeah. The Exarch ability.
That was very cute.
Yeah,
for sure.
All of the conclaves, are they something that we've been seeing in 10th, or was that a 9th thing?
All of the warlocks. I mean, the character warlocks and the Seer Councils, both walking independently or if on bikes. When we won WTC 2009, I had my double Seer Council list, which I invented back then. Yes.
Was 2009, was that 5th edition or 6th edition?
It was 5th.
5th edition, that's right.
So I was playing first Defender Aldari. I scored 116 points out of 120.
Oh, look at this guy. Just casually brushing some dust off his shoulder right now.
Yes.
Shadow Seer for the Harlequins, because I've seen the Solitaire. Of course, Death Jester with Fate's Messenger is cracked and exceptional, but the freaking Shadow Seer, don't think I've seen all edition. Don't think I've seen once.
No. And I mean, providing advancing and charging, or no?
Reroll advance rolls and advance and charge.
Yeah.
And the unit gets stealth.
Somewhat cute, but I mean, with Harlequins paying for their sins of last edition as well, it's basically regaining one of the 8 or 9 abilities that they lost wise since last. They used to have really back in the days a defensive buff when we were playing like night fighting and everything. And to be able to shoot a Harlequin, you basically had to be within 2d6 times 2 when it came to inches. So if back then, if you set up to shoot a Harlequin unit, there was a chance that they, using their holofield abilities, were able to dodge it somewhat. And that would be thematic to maybe bring back at some point.
Yeah, I agree. I think them having a defensive buff again would be pretty good. My biggest issue is now that like putting a defensive buff on a 4-up invulnerable save model was worth it, but is so much less worth it when on a 5-up invulnerable save model. And
for sure,
with, of course, they still have the 0 toughness that essentially they've always had. But we're gonna hit a transition. We'll come back to Eldari and talk about Drakari in maybe about 5 or 10 minutes. But let's go over to the fish cows, the tuna beef, the Tau, because surprisingly, I've seen most of the Tau faction on the battlefield in this edition. I mean, even when the Codex came out, people had a reason to run out and buy their lone spears and play them for a jolly weekend before they got put out to pasture, and like their Crutox Ravagers and stuff like that. Is there anything here that jumps out to you guys as just like, wow, this is untakeable and forever shall be?
The Razor Shark?
Oh, the flyers. Yeah, the Sun Shark and Razor Shark. Yeah.
And the Sun Shark Bomber, of course, paying for the sense of last edition as well.
Anything that isn't a Tiger Shark.
You may make your hot take here, Patrick, about the 2 takeable flyers this edition and the rest.
Well, I mean, so you've seen some really, really, really awesome lists that have had flyers in this edition. The Tiger Shark was real hot stuff for about 2 weeks, and then obviously you've had some Storm Raven lists and stuff like that. But there are 1 or 2 factions that have really good access to good flyers, and everything else is just paying for, again, as we keep saying, the sins of editions past. There was a time a couple of years ago where, AdMech flyers were the bane of every competitive player's existence.
Yep.
And now you never see anybody take anything like that.
That same year I played against 11 Eldar flyers at WTC.
Yep. Absolutely.
That was a thing.
Yeah, it's everything that is really bad now we can probably trace back to some point in a previous edition which it's paying for. But there are some things that just doesn't seem like it fits in with the format of the game anymore, and some of these really, really big vehicles and flyers, like the bombers, like the Tiger Sharks, this sort of stuff. But then you also, if we're keeping with the Tau, you have the Storm Surge and the Taunar as well.
Yeah. Yeah, the big tuna. The Storm Surge is one I think we could definitely see some work go into. I feel like it's actually like almost takeable, but you just wouldn't, because like 2 Riptides is better than 1 Storm Surge, and you can
and it's still more points, right?
Yeah,
it has north of 400.
It actually has really good rules. It's just 400 points, and it is gigantic.
Huge. So
and that's obviously one of the Titanic pieces that weren't as oppressive as their Eldari cousins beginning of the edition. And obviously they got the points hike with the same as every Titanic beginning of 10th, right? Got some sort of points nerf.
It's a little clunky with the Markalat system as well, because of course it has so many guns that you want to spread those out into relevant targets, but you're only pretty much going to have 2 guns that are going to be premium into like everything. Like you have your pulse cannon, you have your pulse driver cannon, whichever one you take, and then you pretty much have your cluster rockets are going into anti-infantry, pretty much, twin burst cannons and crap like that going into anti-infantry. My biggest issue with it is that there's no way to homogenize it. Like I think about the Knight Atropos right now. So Knight Atropos is great because no matter what happens, it's going to be fantastic at smashing a transport every turn. But this guy has so many wasted guns, like 3/4 of the time. I wish there was a way to homogenize more of the guns. Like actually,
maybe double guide it in some way, or
let it double guide as well. Because that's what I was about to say. Because you're always going to have some guns that are good, some guns that are shit. Some guns that shoot good, some guns that shoot bad. And I'd also like to see it's called Titan Killer. It's not a Titan killer. Even the pulse blast cannon, which is supposed to be the Titan killing one, it's only 24-inch range, man. It's a strength 24 minus 612 damage. Yeah, cool. You have to hit both times, wound both times, and 100% of the time, the Titan or towering model is going to have an invuln. So they're going to have a
will have a 4+ invul.
They will literally, turn shields to 4-ups and re-roll. So they'll have to fail essentially, 3 4-ups for you to kill them. It's not a Titan killer. Its guns aren't good enough to be called a Titan killer. No. Yeah. The freaking hammerhead with the hammerhead with the railgun is a better Titan killer than the Storm Surge for a less than a quarter the cost. Yeah, less than half the cost.
Yeah. I'd like to give an honorable mention to the Kroot Forstalkers.
Who?
The elite Kroot.
Oh, they make him elite now.
Yes. So, I mean, apart from looking awesome model-wise, they have basically the same abilities as their Pathfinder counterparts, and costing maybe 10 points less, but then having a 6-up save instead of a 4-up, not being able to guide, basically being Kroot instead of their Fire Warrior equivalents. Pretty bad, one can say.
Yeah.
All right, they do have lethal hits and precision. That's cute. But
on terrible guns.
Yeah. We have done quite a bit of Xenos now and a little bit of Imperium. So I'm going to take us over to Demons, boys. Let us talk about a tale of woe, because there is a big gap between takeable and untakeable stuff in this edition for them. I mean, I'm just scrolling down right now, and there are so many characters that I have no idea what they do. Infernal Enrapturus used to be on every table in 9th edition. Every demon army had the harp lady because she was busted.
Yeah, for sure.
So freaking good. I'm starting to see the Walking Heralds a bit more, like especially the Bloodmaster with Bloodletters is starting to come back into vogue. Horticus Slimex, amazing model. Never heard of him this edition.
But he seeds the fortifications on the table, doesn't he?
Oh, fantastic! Gee, what a joy!
Doesn't he?
The sarcasm. No, I think he buffs Beast of Nurgle.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, and also his sliming area terrain features, right?
Yeah. Every time this model is at the end of the movement phase within one area terrain feature, until the end of the battle, that area terrain feature is considered to be within your army's Shadow of Chaos.
He slimed it. Yeah, he's just Slimer from Ghostbusters.
For sure. And I mean, now, since the demons got their buff, when was it last time with all the greater demons providing shadows?
Yep.
Basically he got even worse somehow.
Yeah And the Nurgle god, I think in particular, is a tale of woe. I mean, I actually don't mind plague bearers at all, but plague drones suck to the nth degree of sucking. Nurglings, Nurglings are absolutely incredible still. But yeah, plague drones have never been seen. I've never seen plague drones or screamers, actually. I haven't seen screamers either, despite me thinking the screamers don't have the worst rules. I've not seen screamers on the table this edition.
Me neither. And I have to give a shout out here to my friend Axel, another Axel, who's been playing mono Nurgle demons throughout.
What is going on there? What is going on in Sweden? 2 guys named Axel.
Yeah.
When will the madness end? Do you walk up to him and just start quoting Highlander like there can be only one? And
yes, and then we need to duel each other every time we meet.
That's the right thing to do.
Yeah. Luckily for me, he's always playing his Nurgle demons, so I can run away from him.
Yeah, nice.
Talking about different chaos gods that have a lot of not so great data sheets. Some of the big things that are Slanesh are really great, but there's a lot of mounted stuff in there that really isn't all that good. Like the chariots, for example.
Yeah, I have seen like a sprinkling of single chariot, But man, like the Hellflayer, never heard of ya. The Exalted Chariots, never heard of ya. I mean, imagine like taking a Herald that already isn't good and putting it on an expensive model that isn't good. That is massive. That's got a base bigger than your greater demons.
That's one of the issues, right? Even on some of the more open terrain formats, you cannot move these things around.
It's wild. It's absolutely wild. Crazy.
And the Soul Grinder as well, right? Having that huge base or vehicle body.
But the Soul Grinder is very takeable because in demons, it's the only way to get a good gun, like in a demon army. So you have to take the Soul Grinder, even though it's like really hard to use it a lot of the time. Yeah, I mean, but you're right to talk about the vehicle stuff. Like you got the Fate Skimmer, the Herald on the Chariot. Never heard of it this edition.
No.
And there's
is that the Siege Chariot?
Yeah, it is.
Yeah, it is.
And it has basically free up and down.
That's kind of good.
That's quite all right.
Once per battle.
Sure. But still.
Yeah, but still, that's something. What could be done? It is on a. Is that a night base? It's on a 120 by 92 oval base.
Yeah, it's a night base.
What the? Oh my god!
It's huge. That's the issue with everything that isn't infantry or beast in the demons book is. Put it on
have you seen Demonettes in this edition?
Oh, I've seen Demonettes once, and yes, they are bad, and yes, they need help.
They need help. For sure.
Yeah, Demonettes suck. I mean,
for attacks.
Yeah,
Dev wounds though, but I mean, just having a 5+ invul, toughness 3.
Yeah,
elf defense stats.
Elf defense with no gun is essentially
Yeah, seems very much at the moment like if you want a demon list with any actual power in it, you bring almost any kind of greater demon. And then if you want any infantry or anything small that actually does damage, it has to be Khorne.
Yeah.
And then you can have Flamers of Tzeentch, Nurglings, and the Khorne dogs if you want to have a little bit of screening and scoring. But it's not particularly granular, is it?
No, it's there's very little you can do in the middle there. That's one of the things I wanted to do. I wanted to see them do with demons, similar to what they did with Tyranids last edition, where they really tried to push the mid bugs. Because for the longest time, demons to me has been greater demons and lesser demons. There's none of this mid demon. Where right now, skull crushers go okay, but the flies, the screamers, the flamers aren't in a great spot. The
fiends were quite decent last edition, but I haven't seen the fiend.
Yeah, I'd like to see them push the mid bug a little bit more. And
also, has anybody ever seen in 10th edition at least a demon prince in a demon army?
No, not once. No. That's a great shout, mate, because they suck. Oh wow.
They're also really expensive at 190 points without wings.
Yes. 100 yeah, exactly right. They're bad, man. I don't know what can be done. I don't know what can be done there because for 60 more points you get a greater demon. That's just such a better stat line in every way, and is so much more enhanceable by the specific enhancements and stuff. I don't know what can be done there.
I mean, just having a standard movement of 8, maybe buff that up a bit. Maybe
make them more customizable in some kind of way. Not actually, being able to choose different things.
Some sort of mark.
They
can have marks.
Yep, they do get that marks.
But maybe something more.
All right, we're going to hit a transition. We're going to do 2 more factions, and then we're going to head off from this episode to part 2. We're pretty much going to do the same thing, just to do a bunch of other factions. So if you have enjoyed this, come over to Patreon, because we're doing the greenskins. And I want to start it off by saying every buggy. Every single buggy. As soon as they changed them for not being squadrons, I think all the buggies became untakeable. The fact that you can only take them as single model units,
So I know that some of the factions in the game that go through a period of just absolute domination, they get hit really hard. But it seems like orcs, when they get a hit in that kind of way, they not only hit them on points or rules, they also hit them in like ways that can't really be undone, like making them 1 per unit instead of 3. They hit them in 3 or 4 different ways at the same time.
They were already extremely hard to wield models on 10th edition tables. Like the buggies were already extremely hard to use well. Like you had to be a savant level orc player to make buggies work, and then it's like, no, you can only have 1.
Yeah. And I mean the Ruka Trick Squig buggies obviously suffering from their dominance there for a couple of months in ninth.
But that's what I mean, right? The buggies was a pretty as far as busted stuff in 9th edition goes. The buggies was a flash in the pan. It was like less. It was way less than 3 months. I feel like it was like less than 2 months where they were busted, and then GW annihilated them from orbit and has never let them like even put roots down again.
And the planes were quite horrible as well, right?
They were absolute in freebooters. The planes and buggies was the worst.
All right, I will hit you with a shooter here, and then the rest of my army will get
tank busters are very bad right now, and I feel like they are untakeable.
Yeah,
this edition,
the eradicators of orcs, or like total shit.
They don't have a damage ceiling anywhere near, because they have D3 damage on their guns or flat 3, whereas eradicators have D6 plus 2 as their ceiling. These are not the same thing, and but they do have D3 shots, so that is something. But then they have AP2. Oh, cool! You got armor, contempt, and cover. Well, I guess I'll take my 3 up or 2 up against your rockets, sir. This is terrible.
Having a +2 hit and a +2 wound, not enough.
No, because they pop smoke and put you straight back to 5s.
Yeah.
They should have what the looters have, which is the reals to hit.
For sure.
I'm looking down the list, and apart from the truck and the battle wagon, I can't see any vehicles that have been good in 10th.
That's true. Yeah, that's true. Do you mean walkers? Because there was a time when the Death Dread felt pretty good and the Killer Cans felt okay. But you're absolutely right. The stuff like the Kill Rigs, the stuff like the
Gorka. I've seen a Gorka not being played in Grot, like the Grot detach. It's quite decent there, but at least the Morkanot, I haven't seen one.
Yeah, I agree. They're pretty bad.
There was a guy who ran a Stomper this weekend.
Oh, what a lad. What a legend.
It looked amazing. Everybody wanted to play against it, but, again, not because it's very terrifying.
The opposite. They want to have the joy of destroying it. Which, I would like to as well. If I was playing a Stomper, if I was not going to win the game, I would want people to kill my Stomper and for it to explode every time. That would be what I would wish for both of us.
In our last team tournament we had in Sweden, there was a guy playing with 2 Stompers. He was there to drink beer and have fun.
Nice.
I even played orcs for a little while, and I never noticed until just now that there is a character called a Boy that isn't just a guy who stands on top of a kill rig.
Correct.
He's actually takeable on his own. All right, cool. Didn't know that.
You'd
never know it. Exactly right. All right, we're going to do one more.
Can I say one more thing about the orcs? I mean, sure. I being an elf, I do hate them with passionate hate. But somehow, like the classic horde type of orc army with just huge squads of boys facing like 120 rushing orcs and not sitting in battle wagons or something. like we had the green tide, obviously, for a couple of weeks this summer before the nerfs came in. But like that, for me, is like a typical orc army, and how like a horde army should look like in some sense.
Yep.
Yeah, totally agree.
Yeah.
All right, we are doing one more, like I said, and that one more is Chaos Space Marines. Going to give them one of the juicy ones on the way out, because there are many a bad unit and untakeable unit in here. The first one I want to talk about is one of the ones that is one of my favorite models in the range, Possessed. Why, like, Possessed? Yeah. They should be cool. They should be awesome, but they are so overshadowed by Chosen. It's not funny because, of course, Chosen get to go in all the transports and all the things and do all the stuff. So what can be done to help out Possessed here, boys?
I need to find the sheet here.
The Possessed have an AP problem, don't they? Or am I misremembering that?
No, 4 attacks at strength 5 AP 1 2 damage.
Yeah.
So
and they lost sorry. No, I was just going to say, like, they used to advance and charge, or am I? That just they don't do that anymore.
Well, you can get that. You can get that with your Renegade Raiders and your other bits and pieces.
You can, but also, and this is not the Possessed's fault. But why would you do that when you can do it with Chosen?
Exactly right.
Right.
Hell, if they're on an objective, you can do it with 5 Legionaries and pretty much do the same damage.
Yeah,
like as these guys. So what's wild to me is that their stat line is excellent. Their movement 9, toughness 6, with a 3 up, 5 up, 3 wounds. Like their stat line is excellent. Why are they toughness 6 but strength 5?
Yeah,
why,
and AP 1,
huh?
which is 0 versus like Deathwing Knights or something.
But exactly right. But you look at all their contemporaries, because these guys are existing in the same realm as Inner Circle Companions, Sword Brethren, Blade Guard, and all the other things across a myriad of different factions. Knobs with Power Claws. Why are they AP 1? When all those other ones, their most basic bitch stat line has been Strength 5 AP 2. And it's either damage 1 or damage 2. If you are I don't get why versus Space Marines this weapon is worse than a cursed weapon. Yeah,
and I mean, just in comparison to the big fellas in the accursed cultist bricks, they hit harder than
way harder. Yeah.
D6 plus 2 attacks, hitting up 4 ups instead of 3 ups, but still, that's more than 4.
Yes.
Yeah. And there are 125 points for 5.
I know. I mean, 25 points per guy at toughness 6, 3 wounds, movement 9, you would say is not too bad for 25 points. But then you look at the fact that they don't do a damn thing. They do not do a damn thing. And
Chosen strength 6 and AP 2 at least.
Yeah, strength 6, AP 2 damage with 4 attacks, and once per game dev wounds. Sorry, what was that, Patrick?
They are the exact same points cost as Chosen.
Exactly right. So why would you ever take them? So they either have to go down in points significantly, at least 5 points per model down, to be even looked at next to Chosen. Even when people complain, and I do love hearing Chaos players complain about Chosen points. I love it. Just do it more. It's just sweet music to me. I love it, guys. And they have to go down in points and probably get another AP before you would take him over Chosen. Legitimately. Yeah. All right. Anything else in CSM, lads?
Shout out to a couple of the more iconic, bigger units that I just haven't seen this edition: the Defiler and the Helldrake.
Yep.
Yep. I mean, the Helldrake might just be because nobody wants to paint one.
That's correct. The trim is excessive, but also the Helldrake. I haven't seen a freaking Helldrake since 7th edition properly. I haven't seen a Helldrake in like a decade. On the table
now.
It's a flyer. It's an aircraft.
Yeah.
Oh no, I did see them in. I can't remember if it was 8th or 9th edition when they had a flyer stat line but weren't an aircraft, so they could move 20 in charge. That's right.
That's when it was actually usable. I mean, it has a flamer sure. It has an autocannon, sure.
Sure.
It's
An ability +1 to hit on its flamer. So
yeah, against things that can
flying.
fly. Yeah.
Lol.
It's T9 and 205 points.
Lol.
Yeah.
Yeah, it doesn't do anything. I'm going to throw one out here. Sorry, you go.
The ordinary Chaos Terminators as well, right?
Yeah.
Yes.
You saw them in lists at WTC last year only as bullet sponges for Abaddon.
For Abaddon, yeah, correct.
Yeah.
They're looking pretty rough at the moment as well.
And the other issue as with the Imperium ones, right? Not having
pretty much
any decent ranged weapons compared to Chosen, obviously not as fast and not as hard striking, and
I want to throw one out to the Disco Lord Discordant, who was all the rage last edition and is now never to be seen again because, of course, can't go through a wall, can't be made to go through a wall because he's not a vehicle, he is mounted.
And the mounted part is really problematic because there is a tailor-made detachment in the CSM book for this unit, but it doesn't count because it doesn't have the vehicle keyword.
Yep. If they just added, and I was about to say, it's an easy fix for Lord Disco, slap the vehicle keyword on him, delete mounted, and he probably gets a new lease on life. 190 is probably a little bit overs now as well. He's movement 10, toughness 9. He does have a 2-up save with an invuln, but 10 wounds. Like 190 is a lot. Like you get a Predator for 60 points less. You can just get a Chaos Predator, so he's quite a few points. So he could probably go down a couple of points as well as getting vehicle.
There was a time when in CSM lists, 3 of these were where you started with the list.
Correct.
But I'm pretty sure it has lost some melee attacks since then. And yeah, it's way too expensive, and it's just not keyworded right to synergize with the codex that it's in.
Yeah, correct. It's just an ugly duckling of the pack. Doesn't go in, doesn't fit in anywhere.
No. Same lines. I mean, there's one other model in here that had a pretty big glow up, actually, rules wise, with the new codex, but still isn't seeing anything. Is Vashtor?
Oh, true. Yep.
For sure.
It looks like it should be really great with the demon vehicle detachment.
Yes.
However, it also can't walk through walls, and it just two of the warp smiths just do the job better.
To do the job better, exactly right. Yeah. Much smaller bases, can hide in all the little nooks and crannies, can do mission play heaps better, and yeah, I agree.
And the two of the warp smiths are in total 50 points less.
Yes, yeah. I do argue that Vashtor is takeable, but not very good.
Sure,
so he might not meet the brief. All right, we got one more.
I didn't know that Chaos that they had access to Beastmen, actual Beastmen.
Yes, they do.
Have you ever faced a Beastman unit?
No.
Wow.
You mean the is it
Felgor Beastmen?
Felgor Raiders? Yeah. I have no idea what they do.
They can be set up if they're put into reserves in your first turn. So basically, the Wolfjail tactic of this flanking Beastman unit with their close chainswords that have strength 4, AP 0 damage.
Watch out.
Hitting on 4-ups. Yeah.
So there is Angor.
Basically. But without any invul, just having a 5-up. So
yeah. Nice.
They can see some love.
Yeah, they could see. You could heap a lot of love all over them
in their direction.
Still wouldn't see them. All right,
guys.
Gentlemen, that is going to wrap us up for this part 1. Come over to part 2. We're going to do some more Space Marines, going to do Astra Militarum and a couple of other Imperium factions because those are the ones that have been requested by our Patreon group. So if you want to get in there and direct some of the content in addition to get any of your questions answered, lists reviewed, and just join in on the chicanery that happens in my Discord, come over and hit us up at AOWdu over on Patreon. Gentlemen, thank you so very, very much for coming on. Patrick, you're an absolute legend. Thank you so much. much for being a great mate to me also and for coming on the show. And Axel, great to meet you, man. I can't wait to see you again at WTC next year, hopefully. And well done to Team Sweden on this year's run. Like playing off for the win in the last round is all you can hope for.
Yeah. Thank you very much. Thank you very much. Great being here.
Thanks.
See you on the other side, guys.
Time you leave the door, open for somebody to interject, to take control.